Hi, I'm Ronnie Page. And just recently I had the opportunity to host and to narrate a film called The History of Branson. I'm not talking about the glitz and the glamour of the lights of Highway 76 theater shows either. The history of Branson goes back some 300 years ago when French explorers came face to face with the Osage Indians in this area. Now the Ozarks and Taney County are rich with stories of hardship and courage and a determination to survive bushwhackers and the Civil War and outlaws and the Ball Knobbers vigilante group and even tourists. I had no idea that it would take a year of production with the on-location filming in the snow and rain and heat to get it done. But get it done we did, because we had one heck of a committed team working on this historical puzzle to make all the pieces fit together. Bear Creek associate producer Lisa Mallard spent many an hour researching archives and talking with historians, separating fact from folklore in order to get it right. Not an easy task, to be sure. For example, these hills from the 1860s to 1900 was the most violent area in the country. When Michael Johnson, the producer and director of The History of Branson, first approached me about being involved in the project, well, it sounded like a fun and very interesting thing to do.
Well, looking back on it, Ronnie, I too think it was a fun project. I enjoyed it very much. I also was stressed out quite a bit. It was the most difficult project I've had in over 30 years in video productions. My big concern in the beginning that caused a lot of butterflies was, how are you going to take 300 years of history and make it come alive for the viewer, make it interesting for the viewer? I also knew that there were scenes that I really wanted to have reenacted to make them real, to take the viewer and place that viewer right in the middle of the scene.
Although Alf Bolin vowed hatred of the Union after he was ambushed by a soldier, his group of bushwhackers used the turmoil of the Civil War to their own advantage, stealing, raiding, and murdering not for the North or for the South, but for the loot.
Stand your ground, Flatlander, and give me your wares.
Now listen, mister, I don't want to have any trouble with you.
Oh, you already got trouble, mister.
But we had a lot of help. People came forward that knew their business. They knew the history of this area, and they had the resources to make it happen. One day I made a call to Keith Thurman. Keith is head of the show at Shepherd of the Hills Park here in Branson. And Keith is about a third or fourth generation Branson resident. He's lived here all his life. He knows the history of this area. And Keith was not only willing to share his ideas with me, he went a lot further than that. He allowed us to use many of the performers of Shepherd of the Hills show, and wagons and horses and guns and animals. And that very fact made the history of Branson come alive. It made it become real. With all that help and our Bear Creek production crew, I'm very pleased the way the history of Branson turned out.
Like Mike said, it took a lot of talented people to create the stories of this area, and you won't see them all on camera. For example, Kimberly Barber of the Presley's Country Jubilee is the voice of Rose O'Neill. Playing Rose O'Neill is familiar territory for Kim.
My name is Rose O'Neill, and I was born in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania on June 25, 1875. I was the second of 7 children. And when I was very young, I loved to draw, and my papa would leave me sharpened pencils and blank paper around the house for me. My home and my family always provided a creative spirit those many years ago. It was the beginning of a lifelong adventure for me.
Well, we're standing here in the home of Rose O'Neal, and for me this is a very special place. I was asked 3 years ago to do a project for Bear Creek Productions as the voice of Rose O'Neal. And I didn't know a lot about her at the time until we started working on the project, and then I read about her, and she is one of the most interesting women I have ever read about. And I can also relate to Rose in the fact that she started at a very young age honing her craft, working on her art, and developing her talent and her passion for what she does. And it grew to a lifelong career. I mean, she followed her dreams to New York, and probably very scary for her, you know, not knowing anyone and just picking up, leaving family and moving. And I feel like I relate to that too, because I started at a young age with my family in a gospel group, and we traveled, and at a young age I picked up and moved to Nashville, didn't know a soul, and to pursue my dreams. And I just think that takes guts and gumption. Just being here, you can just feel her presence, just being here in this place. For me, this was a very, very special project to get to work on. Rose O'Neal is one of the most interesting people you will ever hear about. Well, all of Rose's family is actually buried here on the Bonnybrook property, here in the family cemetery, and that was actually one of her last wishes, was to be buried here in the place that she loved with her family in the family cemetery, and her wishes were carried out. I just love this place, and I appreciate the opportunity to get to be a part of this and a part of telling the Rose O'Neal story. She's just one of the many, many interesting characters that are in this project, and you will love it.
Now I want you to meet Rick Swan, a key ingredient in recreating those Old West scenes. Now, Rick is not only a noted historian about the Ballknobbers, he also served as stunt coordinator, cast coordinator, and location director for the film. And in addition to that, he played the part of Nathaniel Kinney, the head of the Ballknobbers, in the film.
Hello, my name is Rick Swan. I was raised here in the Branson area, and I feel very fortunate to actually be able to watch a town like this grow up, evolve, change. It's definitely what I feel is a one-of-a-kind town. Having a little bit of acting background, I was able to jump in with Mike on both sides of the fence, as in the acting, plus also I started helping him with some of the live action shots.
Miles, that you?
Yeah?
Billy Miles?
Yeah?
You got a gun?
Do you?
Yep, and I'm gonna blow your brains out!
Wonderful time together. We had great timing. We had some ideas that came spur of the moment, that we did some shots right then and there that we had not planned out before, and I feel that those are probably some of the best shots ever. Overall, I love the whole concept that Mike's got here, because it's telling some of the history of this area. I feel a privilege to be able to be part of reenactment, of bringing some of that history to life with the Ballknobbers, with the Elf Bowlin, history of the area. My motto, which is also pretty well part of my goal in life, is don't let history be history.
Now you know there's a whole lot more to Branson than just strumming guitars and pretty lights. Yes, sirree, there's a whole lot of history under your feet right here in Taney County and southwest Missouri. And if you'd like to know how this piece of ground became the live music capital of the world, Well, there's a DVD and a CD audiobook available, The History of Branson, that will give you the whole picture. It's available right here in this venue, or you can go online at bearcreekproductions.com. And when you come to Branson, then you'll have your own stories to tell.